Hey friends, it's time for another balloon art tutorial. And since it's fall and Halloween's right around the corner, I figured I'll teach you how to make a quick and easy pumpkin. So before we get into this, I want you to click those like and subscribe buttons at the bottom so that YouTube can show us a little bit of love and so that you can see all of our content as it drops. And if you want to learn some unique high-end balloon art tutorials that you can't find anywhere else, sort of like this jack-o'-lantern here, then you should become an exclusive member of the Balloon Guys channel. You can do that by going over to our homepage and clicking that little join button, or you can click the link that I put in the description. Now let's make this thing. To make this quick and easy pumpkin, you're only going to need 2 balloons. You're going to need one orange 260 and one green 260, and that's it. If you do happen to need any of these balloons, you can check the links in the description for where you can buy them. First, I want you to blow up your orange 260 until there's just about a hand's width uninflated tail at the end. Just like this much. Tie it up, straighten it out. To make this pumpkin, you're basically going to be interconnecting 6 bubbles, all of the same length. I want you to make your bubbles all about 5.5, 6 inches long. Twist your first bubble 2, 3, 4, 5 times around, just like that. Now you're going to take this twist, you're going to fold it over on itself so that the first little bubble is sitting directly flat against the long tail. Next thing you're going to do is find the spot on the tail where when you twist, it's going to be the same length as the previous bubble, and then make the twist. Squeeze and twist. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you have 2 bubbles that are the same length, and then the tail. What you're going to do is grab the nozzle here as you grab the tail with the same hand. Then you're going to take your other hand and you're going to twist the 2 bubbles around the nozzle so that it wraps itself up. Holding the nozzle, I'm going to twist 1, 2, 3 times. Now, if I just let go right now, this will unravel. We don't want that. I want you to take the tail that you still have a hold of and you're going to sneak it through the hole of the first 2 bubbles. So take your nozzle, pull it up and through, out the other side. Next, we're going to make another bubble that's the same distance as the first 2, and we're going to do what's called a 3-bubble roll through. Back in the day, we used to call it a bird body roll through because that's how we made parrot bodies. You take your 2 that you just made, you're going to lay them flat against the third one, lay them flat against the tail. Hold all 3, and you're going to find a spot on the long tail where it will make the next bubble the same length as the first 2. Right there, twist it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I have 2 plus 1 plus the tail. You're going to lay them flat against each other. Now, to do this 3-bubble roll through, you're going to take your fingers on the fronts of the 2 bubbles from the beginning, and your thumb is going to go on the back of the bubble that you just twisted at the end. You're going to do that with both hands. Now, it's important that you don't let go of this tail bubble because if you do, it comes apart. Fingers on the front, thumb in the back. You're going to pull apart the first 2 bubbles to create some space as you push in the 3rd bubble through that space. Pull apart, roll the 3rd through. Now it's pretty much through, but you want to make sure it's all the way through. So grab those initial first 2 bubbles and kind of gently pull the edges of the 3rd bubble all the way through so it sits nice and flat. Next thing I want you to do is take the long tail and you are going to again fold it flat against the 3 bubbles that you just made. Now it's important that you don't fold it right back the same way you came in, and the way you know this is by looking at the top of your bubbles. You can see all the twists and where they connect in. If you fold right back down the same way you started, then you risk the chance of this thing popping apart. Instead, I want you to take the bubble, bring it back over top so that it goes through another section and it'll make it locked in even tighter. Take the tail, lay it flat against the other 3 bubbles. When it's nice and flat, I want you to find a spot on that long tail to twist it so that this bubble is going to be the same as these. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I have my 3 bubbles, my 4th bubble, and then the long tail. Take the 4th bubble, lay it nice and flat against the other 3, and you're going to do another bubble roll through. So your thumbs are going to go on the back of the piece that you're pushing through, and your fingers are going to go on the other 2 to pull them apart and create space. I'll stand this way so you guys can see it from the back this time. Pull them apart, push the thumbs through. Pull the edges all the way in. Now it's sitting through and that's great, but if you look at the bottom, you can see that this section down the bottom came really loose. I don't like really loose. I want you to take that tail that you had, pull it in tight and wrap it around the neck of the balloon and back underneath. And that makes this junction nice and tight. So we have 4 bubbles in the tail. I want you to take the long tail, just like before. You're going to lay it flat over top, bring it from one side to the other. Find a spot on the bubble so that this guy's going to be the same length as these guys. Make the twist. 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 4 bubbles and a 5th and the tail. This time, I don't want you to do a roll through because it's just kind of too difficult at this point. Instead, you're going to take this twist of the last bubble and you're going to line it up so that it sits over top of this junction right here. So pull this bubble in nice and flat. Take this last twist and pull it nice and tight into the top junction. See how it's sitting in nice and tight there? Last thing, we have this final tail. You're gonna bring this, just like the previous times, you're gonna bring this nice and flat over top, nestled in. You're gonna find a length on this bubble that makes it the same length as the others. So you have your 5 bubbles here, you have your 6th, the last bubble here, and then a little tail. You're gonna take this space of the last bubble twist, and you're gonna bring it up to the junction up top. You're gonna wrap it over, but this time, you're gonna wrap it around the junction completely. You're gonna bring it over top, nestled in nice and tight. And I want you to bring it all the way through and back out the top. Because I'm a stickler for keeping things nice and tight. This is a little long, this pumpkin. I like it a little rounder and squishier. So you're gonna take this tail, you're gonna make a bubble that's just a little bit shorter than the length of the pumpkin. And you're gonna bring it through from the top to the bottom on the inside of the pumpkin. This bubble's not gonna show, it's just gonna be inside of it to fill it out a little. Take the last little bubble, pull apart the other outside ones, and work it into the inside. Once that bubble is sitting on the inside, you're going to squish the pumpkin flatter so that you can make this junction at the top connect to the inside of that bubble. I'll use my chest. Squish, pull the connection point in so that it's now sticking out the top. This does a couple of things. First, it squeezes the pumpkin down and forces the edges outwards a little bit so it gives it more of a rounder shape. And it kind of fills out the inside of the pumpkin so that it doesn't look like there's dead space in there. Any remainder of tail that you have at the end after that last one, I want you to wrap it over top of the junction again, and I want it to go back inside the pumpkin, and you're gonna tuck it away. Nobody will see it. Check it out. Now you're gonna grab that green one. When you blow this thing up, you're only gonna need maybe 1.5 inches to 2 inches of inflation in this balloon. That's it, tie it up. We're gonna take this bubble and we're gonna move it all the way down to the other end of the balloon. The reason we're doing that is because it's just gonna give it a nice cleaner look instead of having it cut off here with the nozzle and not sticking out. Take your hand, you are gonna squeeze the puffed out part of the balloon so that the air moves upwards towards the other end. Now to kind of make it move a little more quickly, you can take your free hand, wrap it ever so gently around the uninflated portion, not squeezing so hard that the air can't move, then you squeeze the inflated part at the bottom. What happens is the air then moves up to the next place it can move up to, which is right here. See, there you go. Now take all this part, now take this bottom part, wrap it up so the air can't move backwards. Reposition your hands and then squeeze again. Look at that. Now take this little balloon here, squeeze it and curve it. It's gonna sort of look like a pumpkin stem. Then this next part here is easy as pumpkin pie. You're gonna take this stem that you just made and you're gonna connect it to either of these junctions. I'm gonna use my chest again. Grab this part, pull it right in. I'm pulling it all the way from the top, all the way through the middle of the pumpkin to the bottom of the pumpkin. And because this stem is only sitting on one side, I wanna make sure it doesn't pop out that hole. So I'm gonna bring the remainder of this back up a different side, wrap it around the pumpkin stem, and then I can bring it back in. Once I bring this tail back in, I'm gonna bring it through 2 of them and out the other side. Tie a little knot. Get rid of the excess and tuck this tail back inside the pumpkin. There you go, quick, easy, cute little pumpkins. Remember everyone, click those like and subscribe buttons, tell us what you think in the comments, and if you want more advanced tutorials, join the Balloon Guys as an exclusive member. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you in the next video.